All right, guys, I'm doing another deep dive video. It's been so long since I've done one, and I've got one here for you featuring 100 tropical fragrances. Yes, I thought it's summertime, and during the summer on vacations, we tend to love to go to tropical destinations. A lot of you do. I, once in a blue moon, will go to tropical destinations, but I love the idea of tropical fragrances. So I've got multiple categories here, and the video will feature different quantities of fragrances in each of the categories. So we'll start off with tropical beach. We'll have marine tropical beach. We have tropical fruity, and that is a big list. Tropical floral, green tropical jungle, and luxury tropical resorts. So those are the categories, and it's a long form deep dive video. If you haven't caught any of my deep dive videos before, it's a great collection of fragrances. Yes, I know some of you do not like long form videos, and I get complaints about those. I'm sorry. If you don't want to watch them, skip ahead. Don't watch them. But many of you really love to watch these. And the thing is, recently, one of my YouTube managers also had me convert these deep dive videos into podcasts. You can listen to these now as well. So check those videos out, listen to them, watch them, play them in the background. I know some of you do that. And if you want to buy any of the fragrances, if I can find them online, I will tag them. They will be tagged by timestamp. And this video should be timestamped as well, or it should feature chapters so you can skip around. Maybe you want to go to a specific category. Maybe you don't like the tropical fruity, you want tropical floral, you want the resorts or the green ones. And anyway, you can jump around and watch the video in different sections. And if the product is available online, you can also purchase these fragrances as well. Before we get started, what are your favorite tropical fragrances, and which category would you prefer the most in this video? Add a comment below so we can find out. So now let's talk about tropical beach fragrances. So we're going to start off with a cheapie from the house of 4711. We've got Acqua Colonia Intense, and this is a Seaside, sunny Seaside of Zanzibar is what the name of the fragrance is right there. So this is an eau de cologne. It's an eau de cologne Intense, and it's creamy, very beachy, very tropical and smooth, a bit sunscreeny and things like that, suntan lotiony. But you've got coconutty touches, light fruity touches, warm vanillic touches for that kind of warmth. But it's a very cozy offering. It's super smooth, not overwhelming. And if you're the type of person that likes fragrances on the lighter side, maybe you don't like extrait de parfum fragrances, and you're fine with eau de cologne concentrations, this is one for you to try. I think it's a very quality offering. It's my second favorite after Awakening Woods of Scandinavia, and it's really nice. I think if, like I said, if you want something budget, you don't like it super beast mode, but you like the idea of that sunscreeny, suntan lotiony, beachy experience, and you want warmth, coconutty touches, kind of tropical floral touches added with the warmth of vanilla, then this is definitely going to satisfy. So that is Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar from 4711, and it's the Acqua Colonia Intense series of fragrances. So next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Beach Geeza. This is Coco Moon, probably the biggest seller of the brand. And Coco Moon is very beachy to me. I just dropped the bottle. All right, thankfully the bottle didn't break. I do have a rag that I've put on the floor because I spray so much perfume, the floor gets very oily. So that protected this bottle, although this was a cheapy fragrance, but still, I think the glass is pretty thick. So with Coco Moon, there's some spicy touches, woodsy touches, and the coconut is kind of woody and more nutty than creamy to me in this particular fragrance. So this is from the house of Beach Geeza. Very tropical, very fruity, a little bit nutty and woody as well, but super smooth and cozy offering from the house. And if you want something more masculine leaning as far as a tropical beachy fragrance goes, this is probably something you should try. But this is Coco Moon from the house of Beach Geeza. Let me know your thoughts on this fragrance. Up next, something a bit out there. This is Comme des Garçons ERL Sunscreen. So this is kind of plasticky, sunscreeny. It's almost like swimming pool, kind of chlorine type of touches in here. But it's definitely not your typical. There's warmth in here. There's vanillic touches. And of course, there's coconutty touches as well. But they also have some light marine notes and aquatic notes thrown in. And of course, something that is, what do you call it? Like the plastic blow up, those things that you sit on in the pool, kind of, it's got those kind of notes thrown in there, like the smell of those blow up toys that you float on in the swimming pool. But it's not, I mean, it's a different take on kind of something beachy and tropical. It's almost like a little bit more like something that you would experience in a swimming pool instead of super beachy. But of course, I categorize this all together because they're, it's kind of like swimming pool, beach, tropical, all go hand in hand. So that is Sunscreen from the house of, actually it's called ERL Sunscreen. And I think it's some kind of a collaboration they've done with some company. But let's move on to Comptoir Sud Pacifique. This is Coco Extreme. Coco Extreme, basically, it's an extreme take on coconut. And this is a fairly budget house from France. They've been around since a long time, I think. This is also kind of waxy, plasticky coconut, but almost like when you buy a bag of shredded coconuts, it has that kind of a smell with the plastic bag it comes in kind of combined together. It's a bit fruity, a little nutty, very creamy, very smooth. And yeah, it's a very interesting take on coconuts. And it gives you like sunscreeny kind of vibes at the same time when you're basically baking under the sun and you've rubbed this like kind of sweet, warm, vanillic, but overdosed with coconut kind of a sunscreen. But to me, it reminds me of the shredded coconuts a lot with the plastic bag it comes in. I don't remember how they come in nowadays because I used to cook and bake a lot back in the 80s and 90s, and that's how I remember them. But maybe they've changed the way the shredded coconut comes these days. But that's what it's reminding me of. So that's Coco Extreme from the house of Comptoir Sud Pacifique. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of Creed, Virgin Island Water. This is a very popular one. This fragrance and also Creed's Aventus layered together creates a pina colada effect. But this is a lot fresher. It's got also something very citrusy in there. I think there's lime. So it currently has a little bit of a cocktail mood. But this is, something perhaps you would have at the beach. Maybe you're laying and you're drinking a cocktail with coconut in it. But this is a very delicious and very popular offering from the house. It's also not super dense or thick. It's fresher and the citrus kind of definitely is highlighted and you'll notice it. And also it gets creamy as the fragrance is settling and drying down. But I think it's one of the better ones from the house. Very expensive house, by the way. And their prices have gotten more and more expensive. But I think this is a solid one. And again, if you like the idea of a pina colada, try and layer that with Aventus. Or maybe something Aventus-like. Maybe if you have, you don't have Aventus and you have Virgin Island water. But next we're going to the house of Estee Lauder. It's Bronze Goddess. This is also a popular one. This is very super beachy. Warm. I think this is sunscreen or suntan lotion on skin, warmed up with the sun, hot body, and the smell, the scent of the sunscreen or suntan lotion projecting off of your body kind of when it's warmed up. No marine touches here. It's all very warm, warmer notes, maybe light florals thrown in, but it's super tropical and beachy. Definitely the floral notes come through, contrast against the warmer kind of ambery vanillic notes in the base. Very popular offering from the house. This is Bronze Goddess from Estee Lauder. And then we've got a fragrance from the house of Fascent. This is Sel A Vie. Sel A Vie. Sel referring to salt in French. There's a play on words. C'est la vie. Sel A Vie. This is kind of cool. I've recently started falling in love with salty fragrances, and I love the idea of this. This is, once again, salty skin. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Sunscreen skin dipped into the seawater, and now you've mixed it with the saltiness of the seawater, but you have the warmth and the warm kind of effect of the sunscreen or suntan lotion hitting the salt. So it's kind of contrasted. The warmth is kind of gone a little bit, and you've got that combo of the saltiness and the warmth and the sweeter kind of notes that are typically found in sunscreen or suntan lotion, I should say. But in this case, we're talking about a fragrance. So they've got the effect of the sunscreen here and also the saltiness together. Super beachy offering, though. Let me know your thoughts on Sel A Vie. Sel A Vie from Fascent is... I actually have a video with the founder of that house. If you want to find out a bit more about that house, go check it out. But definitely a great offering. And again, I'm a fan of salty fragrances. Go catch a video on the channel. I did a video on salty fragrances some time ago. And if you're liking the idea of salty fragrances, definitely check that out. But let's move on to Francesca Bianchi next. It's Sex and the Sea. So this is a very complex fragrance. It could fall into multiple categories. First of all, I think it could go into fruity. But I moved it here because there's way too many fruity offerings that are tropical. This is very beachy to me. It's a bit salty. It's got ambergris. It's slightly animalic. Sex and the Sea, basically. What that, imagine having sex on the beach kind of a thing. But it's typical of the Francesca Bianchi DNA. You've got that. You also have like floral notes in here for sure. Super complex, very, very thick and dense. Completely the opposite of sunny Seaside and Zanzibar. Completely the opposite. Like if you are into heavy fragrances, you have to try this as far as a beachy fragrance goes or a tropical fragrance goes. But once again, the Francesca Bianchi DNA is kind of powdery, orris forward, leathery, animalic. And again, this is super complex. And definitely you'll be reminded of Francesca Bianchi fragrances. So that's Sex and the Sea. A little goes a long way. Now we've got a fragrance from the house of I Profumi di Firenze. This is Frangipani e Coco. So coconut and frangipani, but very beachy to me, very tropical and beachy. The frangipani or the plumeria is a very tropical floral note. I love this flower. Super beautiful. Great smell. Here, it's the coconut. It's creamy, but almost... Well, actually, the flower itself, the frangipani, is super creamy. And I feel like the creamy layer of this fragrance is coming from the flower rather than the coconut, because the coconut is acting more like coconut water. But it's smooth, warm, creamy, not super marine, if at all. There's not much more, not like much in the way of marine notes in this, but it's a different take on the idea of a beachy fragrance. But it's floral, it's coconutty, it's creamy, it's smooth, a bit warm, but there's a breeziness about this. It's not super dense and warm. Like, definitely nothing like Sex and the Sea, even nothing like Bronze Goddess. Bronze Goddess has a lot of warmth and warm ambery effect in the base. Here, it's a lot fresher, I think. It's a breezy beach rather than super hot, baking under the sun kind of a beach. So that's Frangipani Coco from the house of I Profumi di Firenze. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Ipiccirilli. This is Cocobay. You guys familiar with this house? We've got some Italian houses here. Well, yeah, 3 back-to-back. 3 so far. So this is super beachy. It's lightly marine, but not too much. It's more creamy. The coconut is pretty pronounced here. Definitely the coconutty effect is there. It's very creamy, tropical, smooth. There's warmth here, but there's also a lot of amber woods in the base here to give it a super intense and strong depth in the base, I should say. It is an extrait de parfum, as you can see. So it's quite long lasting, but up top, it's very coconutty, creamy, and very, very smooth. Just imagine laying under the sun and rubbing a bunch of creamy, coconutty suntan lotion on. It's super smooth, but just be warned, this one has a lot of amber woods in the base. So ambroxan and things like that come to mind with the dry down on this one. So that's Cocobay from the house of Ipiccirilli. We're moving on to the house of Kayali next. This is Maldives in a bottle. I have a tiny little baby bottle here I can talk to you guys about. So I think Kayali has 4 kind of tropical themed fragrances, but not all 4 fit into this video. Like the Capri one is super citrusy, so I left that off. I've got 2 of them in this video. One of them is here in Tropical Beach. This to me is, it's ylang ylang and coconut together. So ylang ylang, I think, goes tropical, but not necessarily with all fragrances. Like Le Labo's Ylang 49 is not whatsoever tropical to me. It's more very earthy with a mossy kind of patchouli effect in the base. This to me is more, it's very tropical for sure, warm, creamy, and very floral. So this could have fit into multiple categories as well, but I brought it here because there's that creaminess. It has a lot of creaminess, so that reminder of that, you know, rubbing on that creamy suntan lotion, sunscreen, and that effect kind of gives me more of a tropical, beachy vibe rather than something that would fit into the floral direction, because this has a lot of ylang ylang in it as well. And to me, I also get creamy touches with ylang ylang. Most importantly, like a green banana note, but you get that here. It's a little bit like that for sure. And but it's a lot of that creaminess from the coconut. So that is Maldives in a bottle, Ylang Coco 20. So yeah, it's a tiny little baby bottle. So up next, we're going to the house of Lauder. This is Sublimity. You guys familiar with this house? Fragrance is created by Jerome Epinay of fragrances from Wilhelm Parfumerie and also Byredo. And this is awesome. This is so good. So good. So in order for me to make a full list for this video, I had to go buy several fragrances. This stuff is amazing. This is kind of like, you were kind of conservative with the amount of sunscreen you wanted to rub on your skin. This actually has a skin note, but you did it. So it's got the smell of your skin, a little bit of the seawater, a lot of that coconutty sunscreen, but it's not like you didn't put a lot of the liquid on. You were conservative, so it's nicely covered. And you've also dipped into the seawater, and then you've come back, so your skin is a bit salty, and you're laying and baking under the sun, and that smell that's on your skin is what you get here. It's very musky to me, and it's very, very sexy. It's nicely done and super smooth also. Very, very smooth. It's perfect here as a tropical beach fragrance for sure. If you like things a little bit conservative, as in not too strong, I highly recommend it. So this is an eau de parfum offering. That's what it says under here. This is Laur's Sublimity. This Acqua Colonia Intense Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar is an eau de cologne. To me, the way Sublimity is created, even though it's an eau de parfum, and eau de parfum fragrances are stronger, higher concentration in comparison to eau de cologne. So you guys are familiar with that. But this eau de parfum comes off lighter because the way it's created, it's super smooth. It's created in a way that it doesn't project as high. And when I'm comparing the projection with the Sunny Seaside in Zanzibar compared to this, I get more projection from Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar in compared to Sublimity. But lingering power, I do get more lingering power with Sublimity in comparison to Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar. But this is awesome if you guys are into kind of musky skin scent type of skin scents that are more tropical and beachy, lightly marine aquatic. You have to try this fragrance from Lauder, and it's called Sublimity. That's created by Jerome Epinay. And then let's move on to the next fragrance from the house of Louis Vuitton. It's City of Stars. And I always complain about this one. It's misnamed, I think. City of Stars. It's talking about California and Southern California, City of Stars, Hollywood, and things like that. But this to me is a beachy fragrance. It's like, I guess maybe because LA is close to the beach, maybe that's why, but it doesn't make sense to me. But as a fragrance, it's nice, it's fresh, it's citrusy, but also kind of coconutty, tropical, creamy at the same time, with floral notes thrown in. I kind of like this a lot, actually. What's the other fragrance that I think it should have been reversed with the name, and I'm forgetting. It's been a while since I've been talking a lot about Louis Vuitton fragrances, but as far as putting the notes down for this video and picking and choosing different fragrances, I made sure to include this, but I just think the name is kind of not right. But as a fragrance itself, I think it's a great scent. It's fresh, though. There's a freshness about it and a creamy, coconutty, sunscreeny layer under there as well. So it gives me a tropical vibe. So that is City of Stars from the house of Louis Vuitton. Up next, going to the house of Maison Margiela. This is Beach Walk. So my previous bottle, the juice was lighter. This is the darkest juice I've had here in Beach Walk. Have they changed the formula? I can't remember, but I mean, my previous bottle was much lighter. I mean, the juice was more, I think maybe more like that, even lighter than that, I think. Maybe slightly darker than the ERL sunscreen. Anyway, but Beach Walk has been a very popular offering from the house of Maison Margiela. It's salty, beachy, warm, and fresh at the same time. You know, you've got the warmth of the sunscreen there. You've got the freshness of the sea. It's a bit marine and salty. It's also skin. It smells of skin. Similar idea to the Sublimity, I think. But as I said, with Sublimity, it's more of a skin scent. It's close to the skin, and it's the smell of skin that is dipped into the sea with that kind of sunscreen on your skin and the saltiness of the sea combined together with the smell of your skin. Here, it's much stronger. This is also much more tropical to me than the Lauder. Lauder has the tropical notes in there, but this, again, I think it's stronger because it's also a louder fragrance. And once again, the Lauder is an eau de parfum, and the Beach Walk, Maison Margiela, is an eau de toilette. And that eau de toilette is much more of a screamer, it's a louder fragrance in comparison to the Sublimity. But I love Skin Scents. Also, in addition to Skin Scents, I also love really loud fragrances. And this is a skin scent that I haven't come across before, where it's more of a tropical, kind of floral, beachy, warm, marine, all combined together. But yeah, the Beach Walk is very popular. I think it's definitely one of the best. If you haven't tried it, please do. I think it's maybe my bottle has just been aging inside the box. Who knows? It's smelling great though. Let's move on to the house of Mancera next. It's Holidays. And speaking of juice color, this bottle has gotten pretty dark. I think if there's resins and if there's vanilla, the juice does get dark. I mean, I featured this in a lot of like tropical videos from 4 years ago, and it's the same bottle. And you can go catch those videos and see the color difference, because the color was never like this. I remember it was much more yellow, and then now it's gone orange, because the color of the label is quite golden, and the juice next to it was much lighter. Now it's all orange. But this is Holidays. Very tropical, very marine also. This could have been easily fitting in the marine tropical beach category, because the marine notes are quite prominent here, but it's also very coconutty and vanillic at the same time. This is a louder take on something like Beach Walk. And of course, Mancera is a house that you turn to for super strong fragrances. But if you like the idea of the smell of the sea with the sunscreen, the warmth of the sunscreen that's kind of projecting off of you because you've been laying under the sun, your body heat and the heat of the outside and the air and everything is like projecting that smell off of you. This is the kind of fragrance you would pull for. It's very warm and also salty marine at the same time. Plus floral. There are floral touches here. This is Holidays from the house of Mancera. Up next, going to the house of Mugler. It's Alien Goddess. This is also floral. I was thinking, okay, do I put this in the beach category or the floral category? I decided to put it in here. It's Mugler's Alien done in a different way. They basically took the alien idea and gave it to a different group of perfumers, this time from Firmenich, because the original Alien is created by Dominique Ropion. And I think this is Marie Salamagna and Nathalie Lorson of Firmenich. And they basically took the jasmine, because the jasmine was the keynote, and took it into a coconutty, warm, vanillic direction. So giving you that idea of the beach, sunny and warm, a little aquatic and salty, but you've got this beautiful, gorgeous jasmine note in here, contrasted against the warmer notes and the salty and marine type of effect that's happening in here. The marine effect is not super strong, I should say, but I think it's a pretty solid offering. So that is from the house of Mugler. It's Alien Goddess. Up next, going to a house called Nateeva. This is Jamaica. So Jamaica is also a fragrance that kind of reminds me a little bit of the Maison Margiela Beach Walk from the replica collection. This is Eau de Parfum, though. It's super warm, very tropical, very beachy marine at the same time. Yeah, imagine rubbing on the really fragrant sunscreen on, and it's mixed in with your own body chemistry and your own smell, and that's what I'm getting here. There's also a lot of floral notes in here as well, which adds a creamy layer and texture to the fragrance, and it creates a smoothness while you're putting that fragrance on. Anyway, that is Jamaica from the house of Nateeva. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. We're going to the house of Profumi del Forte. This is, what is the name of this one? Vittoria Apuana is the name. Sorry, I couldn't figure out where it was. I bought this from Lucky Scent several years ago. I just love the idea of it, and I love this bottle, but when I first discovered this brand at Neiman Marcus here, probably about 13 years ago, their bottles were like more like works of art. They were very ornamental and kind of not clear bottles. They were almost like marble looking bottles, and they were also tall and thin, kind of like these bottles, but not clear, obviously. And I was always intrigued by the brand, but Neiman's had them for a while and they removed the brand, and it was a bit difficult to discover them or find them. Lucky Scent was carrying them. I once like met one of the, not the founders, or maybe one of the founders at a event at one of the trade shows or fragrance shows, and spoke to them, and wanted to learn more about the brand. But it's not a brand that's very distributed, but, and I don't even know if you can still buy these fragrances from Lucky Scent, but this is a really great one for that whole beachy, tropical, coconutty idea. It's slightly gourmand. A lot of these like coconutty fragrances do kind of go slightly gourmand. I think they add the vanilla or some ambery resinous notes to give you that kind of sunscreeny, beachy effect. This doesn't have much in the way of marine notes though. But it's pretty solid if you like the idea of coconutty fragrances. God, I wish I had one of the bottles from this brand before they redid all their bottles. Either way, that's Profumi del Forte and Vittoria Apuana. Let me know if you guys remember their previous bottles. Add a comment so I can find out. Let's move on to the house of Tom Ford next. This is Soleil Blanc. This is the fragrance that started the whole Soleil series of fragrances. I think this is probably the better of the two. I mean, not two. There's been like 4 of these. 4 or maybe 5 in the series, I think. But this is super tropical, very creamy, a bit nutty, of course coconutty. There's some fresher floral creamy notes in here as well. Really nice work, I think. Definitely one of the best from the line. Although I think the one that came after this is, and I'm drawing the blank with the name, is probably the more popular one. I can't quite remember. I believe this one has a parfum created, and I believe there's also an eau version of this as well. But it's great. It's a nice one. It's super awesome. I got to dig into the parfum edition. I have stopped buying Tom Ford fragrances. It's been a while since I've picked up anything. I'm looking forward to the Tobacco Vanille and Tobacco Chocolat parfum. Oh wait, no, Tobacco Vanille parfum, Tobacco Chocolat in the Eau de Parfum. And also I'm looking forward to the Reserve edition of Ombre Leather. But this is nice. This is a great tropical, beachy, creamy, floral, sunscreeny offering from the house of Tom Ford. And let me know about the Parfum edition of that. Is it worth having? The Parfums are super expensive. I didn't buy the Parfum of Neroli Portofino because I have a big bottle of the Forte, and because that got discontinued. And I was wondering if people have said the Forte is different than the Parfum. Who knows? We'll see. The last fragrance in the tropical beach category happens to be Vacation by Vacation. But this is also from the folks at Arquiste, I believe. I think these fragrances are done by Rodrigo Flores Rue. This is a very playful, fun fragrance. The whole concept, I think, is playful and fun. And this is also a bit banana-ish, and also kind of vinyl plasticky. The texture, you can feel it. But there's a little bit of marine notes in here. But it's just very beachy and fun. But their whole advertising campaign was really, really fun when they first launched. Is it the same folks as Arquiste? I know the perfumer is Rodrigo Flores Rue that does the fragrances of Arquiste, or a lot of the fragrances of Arquiste. But this is a fun fragrance. Vacation. Whenever I think about that fragrance, I think of the Go-Go song Vacation. But anyway, that's just me. That's the name. But it's a fun fragrance. Vacation by Vacation. That's the last fragrance in this category. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Let me know. Add a comment below. Now let's move on to Marine Tropical Beach category. All right, the Marine Tropical Beach category has only 8 fragrances. So this is not a big category, but the next category of the tropical fruity fragrances is the longest list. There's going to be a lot of fragrances in that category. But today in this category, we have 8 fragrances that I felt like were tropical and marine at the same time. But as I said, I think maybe 1 or 2 of these could have gone into, from the previous category, would have gone into this category as well. But I felt like they belonged in the other categories. Let's start off with Beach Geeza once again. This is Ocean Water. Have you guys tried this fragrance? This is a very interesting kind of ambergris-ish marine offering that leans kind of tropical, but also very earthy at the same time. To me, there's a major earthiness, almost like the combination of petrichor, patchouli, maybe some mossy notes mixed in with the seawater together, somewhere in a tropical destination. I actually really like this one. I think I prefer this one over Coco Moon. It's different, but giving you that kind of petrichor-like vibe, you know, the earthiness and all that kind of stuff mixed together with kind of a salty marine kind of an effect. Very interesting. Ambergris comes to mind as well. So that's Beach Geeza's Ocean Water. Up next, Dior's Eden Roc. Super minerally marine offering with light coconutty touches. It doesn't necessarily have coconut, but it comes off like that. But very salty at the same time. And lightly floral. It's not one of my all-time favorite. And you guys know, marine is not one of my favorite categories. And this turned out to be only 8 here. But when this first came out, I wasn't a big fan of it. It's kind of grown on me, but still, it's not, like, I wouldn't rush out and tell people the best fragrance from the Privé collection is Dior's Eden Roc. No way. This is not that kind of a fragrance. But if you like salty, marine, lightly coconutty, floral fragrances, that is the one for you to try from the house of Christian Dior, or Dior's Privé collection called Eden Roc. All right, up next, going to the house of Gleam. It's Coco Bello. This is also very marine, at the same time being very beachy tropical, and at the same time super fruity banana-ish. Very banana-ish. It's almost like you're right next to the sea, and it's a very fishy smelling sea. And you're having it's in the tropics, and it's very tropical and hot and humid, but you're having a sundae with bananas in it kind of a thing. It's creamy, it's coconutty, it's super smooth and very banana-ish, but also salty marine notes are in there, and tropical humidity texture comes in as well. It's actually fun. I like this one quite a bit from this collection of Gleam's fragrances. This is Coco Bello. Up next, we've got Jacques Fat's Curacao Bay. This is also very popular, kind of tropical floral, but very marine. When this first came out, I was not into it at all. I've kind of grown to enjoy it now. It's salty at the same time. But definitely you're swimming in the sea with this one for sure. Maybe you've got a lei on. You've been to Hawaii maybe, and it's made with Frangipani. I think the notes. I think it features Frangipani as a floral note. It's very tropical, but you're also having that saltiness from the sea all along the same time with that very distinct marine smell. At the same time, you're on the beach too, because it's quite beachy to me. It's almost like underlying there with the fact that it has that Frangipani effect. and it's creamy. That note is kind of creamy to me. It's almost like you've got that sunscreeny kind of effect happening on your skin while you're swimming with a lot of the sea and saltiness. So that is Curacao Bay from the house of Jacques Fat. Up next, one of my favorite salty marine fragrances that is warm and vanillic. This is from the house of Juliet Has a Gun. It's Vanilla Vibes. The name doesn't quite tell you the big picture of this. Maybe it does. It is vanillic for sure, but it doesn't say that it's salty and marine at the same time, but maybe it doesn't have to say that. But I love this. I love the fragrance. One of the best from the house of Juliet Has a Gun. It's vanilla in a different direction. Salty, marine. But the idea to me is the suntan lotion and dipping into the sea. And the salt is rubbed off on your skin, obviously. So it's not a gourmand, but it's warm and vanillic, and also fresh and salty and marine at the same time. So that is Vanilla Vibes from Juliet Has a Gun. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know. This next one might be a bit challenging for me. I decided to feature it here. This is Ramon Monagal's Sunset Cafe from the Ibiza collection. Are you guys a fan of Ramon Monagal? Let me know. Add a comment below. This has a coffee note. It's also got, I think, a little bit of oud in there. But no, I thought this was going to be challenging. It's not. That actually kind of smells good. Let me put some on. I don't remember reacting to it very positively before, though. There's definitely... Wow, that smells really awesome, actually. Super sexy smell. There's definitely marine notes in here. Very... It's got, like... It's actually really good. Who created this? Well, it's Ramon Monagal. He's a perfumer. Uh-oh. It's developing into a little bit of marine cologne-like effect. But what I smelled up top, it's a bit floral, kind of salty, very creamy and smooth. And the coffee is a distinct contrast. And it's called Sunset Cafe. So it's a cafe on the beach and you're drinking coffee kind of thing. The marine layer is there, but it's nicely covered up. I mean, that cologne-y kind of smell, sulfuric, turns me off. And it's lightly there. But it's not bothering me as much because one time, another brand I discovered at Neiman Marcus probably 13 years ago, there was actually very much drama about that brand there. And I don't want to get into the drama, but they had a fragrance called Mon Patchouli. I don't know if they still make it or not. And me being the patchouli lover, I was so excited to try it. I sprayed a bunch on and it was overdosed with cologne. And I was like, oh my God, this is almost nauseating. I had to wash it off. So I couldn't deal with it. And since then, I've noticed the brand does use quite a bit of this note that turns me off so much. In this, it's there. It's definitely there. But it's covered up nicely. But now that it's drying, it's kind of like coming out, exposing itself. But it's not, it's a conservative amount in there. It's not super loud, because if it was, I'd be pretty pissed off. But anyway, I think the initial blast of that is quite good. It's very sexy, but now that it's kind of drying down, that marine touch is really showing its face. Anyway, what do you guys think of this? Sunset Cafe Ibiza collection from Ramon Monagal. Add a comment below. Next, oh, did I forget? I forgot one. Let's switch back. Let's do this. This is from the house of MAC. This is Turquatic. You guys familiar with the brand MAC? MAC Cosmetics? So this is a marine fragrance, very tropical, slightly fruity, fresh, but definitely without any cologne in it. It's there. But this seems much more fun and playful. It's super fresh though. And I'm saying fresh, it's acting fresh. It's not like spraying like super fresh and light kind of a thing. But the kind of fragrance it is, it's a very fresh offering. There's a slight green menthol-like effect happening in there. Slight. But definitely not cologne marine touches. See, I like the marine touches that don't use cologne. And when I was first starting talking about fragrances, I noticed that cologne was overused. I just like, it turned my stomach, literally turned my stomach. But I think later on, as the years went by, I think they discovered other ways to create the marine effect, which I quite like. The usage of the salt, giving it a marine effect, is one of the best things they could have done. Or something salty, because I don't think they use salt. They use a salty kind of a note. But anyway, so that is Max Turquatic. Let me know your thoughts if you're a fan. And the last fragrance in this marine tropical beach category is Sel A Vie from the House of Swiss Arabian, an extrait de parfum fragrance. You guys familiar with this fragrance and this house? So this is a very marine offering, but once again, it's not that nauseating cologne. It acts like the sea. It's also very, there's a greenness about it, but not like super vegetation, but something more like aromatic greenness and a woody intensity. But beneath all of that, there is definitely a lot of warmth. It is called Sel A Vie. Yeah, so it's salty, it's marine, it's fresh but very deep. There's definitely something aromatic happening, something spicy is happening, and there's definitely a woody depth in there as well. Super dense woody depth. So that is Sel A Vie from the House of Swiss Arabian. What are your thoughts on this one, guys? So that's the end of this category, marine tropical beach. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Do add a comment below, and let's move on to the next category, which is tropical fruity, and that is the biggest category here in this video today. All right, we're talking about the tropical fruity fragrances now. We've got a ton of fragrances here. It's a page and a half of fragrances, so there's a lot listed here. And it makes sense. Fruity fragrances are very popular, and the tropical theme is a great, style for fruity fragrances. And it makes sense that they're making a ton of fragrances that are fruity and tropical. So let me know if you have a favorite tropical fruity fragrance. Do add a comment below. Let's get this started. If I didn't tell you, everything is timestamp tagged. So if you're in the market for any of these fragrances, you can buy them. And each fragrance that I can find online, I'll tag. So we're talking about Rise from the House of Akro. Kind of pina colada-ish. Very fruity and tropical. A little creamy as well. Pina colada does get creamy. But it's fresh. It's fruity. Beachy. Well, no, I'm sorry. Take that back. Take the beachy back. It just kind of transports me to a kind of a setting like that, but it's more about the fruits here and a creamy effect with the coconutty, fruity touches. So that is Rise from Akro. What are your thoughts on Rise from Akro? Let me know. Add a comment below. I actually went shopping at Sephora to look for some tropical fragrances. And even though this is for the ladies, I bought it because I thought it was a really nicely done fragrance. This is Armani's Power of You, What are your thoughts on this one, guys? It's brand spanking new to me, and it smells super delicious. It's super fruity, very tropical, and it's like tart fruits and sweet fruits combined, very fresh, but there's some depth in the base. There's some light spices in there, some woods and some sweetness in the base as well. Very nicely done tropical fruity fragrance. Armani's Power of You. Who's a fan? Let me know, add a comment below. That's Power of You from the house of Armani. It's the first time I've bought an Armani fragrance in a long time. The price was also not super expensive like other ladies' fragrances. And so, yeah, Power of You. Check it out if you like the fruity fragrances. Up next, going to the house of Boho Boko. This is Mango Yuzu Gasoline. Yeah, mango, yuzu together with gasoline. Thoughts on that fragrance? It's a bit daring, right? It's a bit leathery to me as well. For sure it has the citrusy touches and also quite fruity and tropical. But in addition to the gasoline effect and the leather, I'm also getting a little bit of cannabis for some strange reason. I'm not sure why. But it's a bit daring and out there, but also familiar with the whole mango theme here. There's definitely a juicy zestiness in here and a bit of zing. I think that's coming from the yuzu note. Perhaps a little bit of salty effect happening in there as well. So that's Mango Yuzu Gasoline from the house of Boho Boko. Up next, going to the house of Born to Stand Out, it's Black Mango. We've got two fragrances from Born to Stand Out here. So this is a dark take on mango, but I almost feel like the Mango Yuzu Gasoline is darker. This has a creamy effect in it that I didn't get from the Boho Boko, and it adds a layer of cozy, comforting vibe, and it kind of like takes away from the darkness. There is a slight greenness in here as well, but it's almost like mango custard creamy. There's also oud here, but it's super concentrated, very concentrated. So that's Black Mango from the house of Born to Stand Out. What are your thoughts on that one? I can't remember who did that, who created it, but this is Gold Juice. Gold Juice is about durian fruit. This one's a bit challenging for me. When I remember testing these out, the Intimité collection, as you can see right there. Oh, Intimité. It's fruity, and it's a tropical fruit, slightly green. I just it's not a fragrance I enjoy, unfortunately. What do you guys think of Gold Juice? I hear it's one of the more popular ones from the brand, but I haven't really dug into that one. Anyway, that's Gold Juice from the house of Born to Stand Out. Up next, going to a classic. Definitely a classic here. This is Clinique's Calyx. Who's a fan of this one? This is also a bit green, and perhaps it would have been perfectly featured in our green tropical jungle video, or section, I should say. But it's quite citrusy. There's definitely green elements. There's a tropical touch about it. It's juicy, zesty. I believe they have grapefruit here. This current version, I don't think utilizes a lot of the tropical fruits. But when it was part of Prescriptives, I think it was a lot more tropical fruity. But I wanted to feature it here because it does give me that effect still. And definitely something you should try if you haven't tried it yet. So that's Clinique's Calyx. And at one time, it used to be called Prescriptives. So I think Estee Lauder killed the Prescriptives brand and moved Calyx into the Clinique brand. All right, next we're going to the house of day 3. It's Bonnie. Who's a fan of Bonnie? This to me is very mango forward. It's also very green mango forward. But super fruity and tropical. There's some spicy touches in there, aromatics. There's definitely some citruses. Very tropical. But it's not the kind of tropical that's hot and humid. I think there's a breeze. There's like a freshness. Who's a fan of this Bonnie? Let me know. Add a comment below. Next, we're going to the house of Fomoa. This is Panacotaha. Super mango forward. And also kind of creamy custardy once again. Mango seems to come up quite a bit. Mango is a very popular fruity note, also tropical fruity note. This is got creamy vanillic elements in there, but the mango is very, very prominent. You can totally smell it. And plus it's kind of almost like pulpy. But I think it's a creamy effect that's giving me that pulpy touch. It's almost like you also have the skin of the mango captured here as well. What are your thoughts on Fomoa's Panacotaha? Let me know. Add a comment below. Up next, go into the house of Francesca Bianchi once again. This is the Code of Emotion. The Code of Emotion is a fougere, but it's a fruity fougere. It's with mangoes once again. Mangoes are very popular. But I liked seeing the idea of fougere with a tropical fruit. I wouldn't say this is super duper fruit forward, but you definitely have the fruitiness in there. To me, it's acting very fougere today. And sometimes I smell the fruits a lot more than others. So if you like a fougere fragrance, like a barbershop offering with a slight fruitiness, definitely try the Code of Emotion from Francesca Bianchi. To me, this one also, we just spoke about Sex and the Sea. It doesn't have the Francesca Bianchi DNA that we've come to know. That whole iris, leather, powdery, animalic side of her fragrances. Now, there might be that DNA in here, but because it's powdery for me, but I feel like it's toned down quite a bit. And the fougere notes like lavender and things like that are more amped up. So that's the Code of Emotion from the house of Francesca Bianchi. Next, we've got Indult's Manakara. You guys familiar with Manakara? This is actually a Francis Kurkdjian creation. Super fruity, but definitely a slight classic touch here. It's not as modern fruity like the more modern fruity fragrances can be. But it's got a nice fruity tropical presence with it. I think there's a combo of rose and lychees, and I think those two notes work wonderfully together. But the lychee fruit stands out, and then the rose kicks in and kind of takes over with the lychee fruit. So that is Manakara from the house of Indult Paris. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Next, going to the house of Jazil. This is Wid. I love this bottle, by the way. This bottle design is super gorgeous. And that seal in the back is kind of cool also. This is a mango focus fragrance once again. It's a fragrance created by Chris Maurice. It's very tropical. It's like a tropical fruit compote or something. Fruit bomb. It's fresh, very, very fresh, but you can feel its intensity, its thickness, because it's quite dense. There's a slight green and aromatic side to it as well. It's mango, but I feel like it's a bit on the greener side, but it's super fruity. So that is Wid from the house of Jazil. What is going on with the brand, by the way? Are they still around? If anybody has an idea, but I have to be honest, that bottle is gorgeous. I just love this bottle. Anyway. All right. We did Jazil, Wid. We're going to the house of Juicebox next. This is Carioca Heart. Julian Rasconnay creation. You know, after he did this fragrance for Juicebox, I worked with him with Juicebox on 54. I thought about putting that fragrance here, but I didn't, even though it has tropical notes in there. It has the pina colada with coconut and pineapple, but it's not like a very strong presence in that fragrance, so I left it off. But Carioca Heart is mango and pineapples, really nicely done with warm notes and boozy notes. Definitely a very fun and playful fragrance. There's a definitely the signature of Julian Rasconnay fragrances in this, but gone into more of a tropical direction. Like if you strip away the notes and separate them and put together some stuff that he uses quite frequently in the fragrances, you can tell his DNA is in here for sure. But it's really nicely done. This one projects also and smells great in the warmth. Carioca Heart from Juicebox is a fantastic offering. Very tropical, fruity. So let's move on to the house of Kajal next. I've got 3 fragrances back to back from Kajal. First is Icon. Yeah, the brand does quite a few tropical fruity fragrances. In fact, I just should say fruity fragrances. What I like about this one is super juicy, very, very juicy, fruity. I'm also getting red fruits and tropical fruits, and also sweet tart at the same time, which makes for a great wearing experience, I think. Underlying, there's also some earthy notes, I feel like a woody depth. That's what I like about it. It acts very sexy. Like I feel like there's patchouli in this. Yum. That is great. That is Icon from the house of Kajal. Up next, we've got Dahab. Dahab is super fruity, but I would say this is more powdery fruity compared to the last fragrance. I think they just came out with a new version of Dahab, didn't they? This also has apples, I believe. Very powdery offering. To me, it's... I say powdery because it comes off dusty. But it's a nice one. I like the previous one a little more. But definitely solid offering, Dahab from the house of Kajal. But my all-time favorite from the house, as far as fruity fragrances go, is Lamar. I love Lamar so much. In fact, it was featured in our number 2 or number 3 Scent Club kit. The 3rd Scent Club kit we did, it was in that kit. This is a pineapple bomb. For me, if you guys are looking for a bottle of Dolce & Gabbana's pineapple, it's just called pineapple from the fruit collection of fragrances. There was 3. It was the pineapple, the orange, and the lemon. For me, the pineapple was the best out of that whole trio of fragrances. It was also very difficult to get. But if you've been looking for pineapple, this is a great alternative. But I have to say, the pineapple from Dolce & Gabbana is kind of lighter. This one has a lot more depth. This is also more fruits in addition to the pineapple. There's also red fruits in here. It's deeper, it's warmer. Well, it does get warm, and I think pineapple from Dolce & Gabbana got warm as well, but that's a designer. This is more of a niche offering, so there's a lot more depth, and it's a bit more complex than that pineapple, but it smells great. Really lovely fragrance. It's created by Mark Buxton, and he did such a great job on this one. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites. And the pineapple, one of my favorite fruits of all time, love eating pineapple, is warmed up. At least, sadly, I don't like overly ripe pineapples because I like the tartness. And this has that whole tart side of the pineapple and also the kind of warm side of the pineapple. Super yummy. So that is Kajal's La Mar. Let me know if you're familiar with La Mar. Then we're going to the house of Kayali. This is another mini, tiny little bottle. It's Maui in a bottle, Sweet Banana 37. If you guys haven't watched a video that I shot with Mona Katan of Kayali, that she came to the studio here 1 year, like 3-4 years ago. And she was asking me if I can guess the fragrances that they're working on. And I had never met her before, never really communicated with her before. And I guessed banana, and she was quite shocked in the video. It was a strange guess. I don't know where I threw that out there from, but I threw that out there because I felt like bananas were kind of becoming popular, and that was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. This is a banana focus. This is the fragrance that she was working on. It's quite yummy. It's creamy because that banana has that creamy texture. It's sweet and also sort of tropical with some kind of tropical touches. A little booziness as well. I feel like it's a little boozy. But super delicious. This is really yummy. Banana fragrances. Are you guys a fan of banana in fragrances? Let me know. Add a comment below. But this is quite yummy for a banana fragrance. All right, that is Maui in a bottle. Sweet Banana 37 from Kayali. All right, next, going to a cheapie. This is Le Monde Gourmand Rum Tropique. You guys familiar with Rum Tropique? This is super fun. It's almost more it's almost more fizzy, like a maybe it's like a rum and coke kind of an effect. But spicy, fruity, boozy, fresh at the same time. And that fizziness kind of gives me the fresh effect. And also, I feel like there's some warmth too. I'm getting something spicy, almost cinnamony in here. So that is Rum Tropique from the house of Le Monde Gourmand. All right, we're going to the house of Lorenzo Pizzalia next. We've got 2 fragrances back to back from the house. This is Summer Hammer. Summer Hammer. It's seeming like it's a tropical fruity offering for sure, especially since we've got, as you can see, pineapple and coconut pictured on the cover, on the front of that bottle. Yep. It's like a pina colada-ish effect. Very concentrated, super duper concentrated. I feel like in addition to the pineapple and coconuts, there's probably some other fruits in there as well, but it has major depth. It's super strong and very, very thick. A little goes a long way with this one also. Be warned. Summer Hammer. Not MC Hammer, but Summer Hammer. What is a Summer Hammer? Is that a cocktail? All right, next, going to the same house. It's the same house in one of their latest offerings. This is Tropicalis Karma. This, like I think I spoke about this in some video recently. This is like one of the fruitiest fragrances I've ever experienced. And it is a major fruit bomb. Whew! It's a combination of all kinds of fruits. Really, really thick, dense. It's almost like you've chopped up all these fruits, macerated them, and you're mixing it all together. And that smell is just kind of coming out of that bowl that you've got all of these fruits chopped up and mixed together. It's very, very tropical. So we've got tropical fruits and red fruits and berries and all kinds of things like that together. But there's major thickness here. It acts very, very thick. So that is Tropicalis Karma. Have you guys sampled that one? Let me know. Add a comment below. One of my favorite fruity fragrances. This is from the house of Lumari. This is Porthole. Love this fragrance. Now this is pineapple, salty, caramel, super yummy. It's very long lasting. I absolutely love the way this smells. We've actually featured this in a Scent Club kit as well. But really fell in love with this right on the spot. It's definitely my favorite of the line. But Radon 4, which recently came out, is also competing with this. But still love this one. Really love it. It's a fun fragrance. And they can make a marine fragrance without using marine notes and using salt instead, right? That's what I was saying earlier. Really love that. Because it's blue, it's porthole, and it's talking about the sea. It's it's fruity and tropical, but doesn't go fishy. All right, that's Lumari's Porthole. Then we've got L'Entropiste White Blood. This time we've got the starfruit note. Don't get the name of this one, White Blood. If anybody knows, let me know. I haven't really researched it. I knew it was a tropical fruity offering. That's why I wanted to feature it here. I don't know. This fragrance came left field. I think the rest of the line kind of connects with the style of Bertrand Duchaufour, who's the perfumer for all of the fragrances here. This one almost seems like it doesn't belong, but then again, the guy can make all kinds of fragrances. It's just quite fruity and fresh. I'm not personally familiar with starfruit, so I haven't experienced it, and I eat a lot of fruits, so I got to go try it and taste it sometimes, because taste and smell is all connected. So sometimes I need to eat something to really explain it in a fragrance. But anyway, that is L'Entropiste White Blood. Then we've got Maison Crivelli's Oud Maracuja. It's a passion fruit oud combo. Quite woody, dense, intense. It's an extrait de parfum, so highly concentrated. The oud sprays on first, because the oud is the dominant note, but it's followed by the maracuja, which is the passion fruit, and that kind of starts taking over. Then it becomes a nice combo of the tropical passion fruit with the depth of the oudy woodiness of the oud note. I don't think it's animalic, but there's some light funk there. It's an easier to wear oud fragrance for sure. So that is Maison Crivelli's Oud Maracuja. Then we have Mayanaji Tropica. You guys familiar with Tropica from this house? Are you guys familiar with the house? So This to me is a great tropical fruity offering, but for some reason, lately when I spritz it on, it gives me a fougere effect. Not as much as the Code of Emotion from Francesca Bianchi, but there's something fougere-like happening in there, which is kind of cool. But to me, it's less fougere, more tropical fruity. And the fougere qualities appear on my skin more than on the strip, obviously, but also probably because it's in the stages of after the fragrance has been on for a while. But I quite like this one. It's one of my favorites from the house for sure. Let me know if you're familiar with Tropica from the house of Maya and J. Up next, we've got Montal's Oud Saparat. We actually featured this in a Scent Club mystery box. It's pineapple focused, and it's an oud. It's not one of my favorite Montals, but I wanted to highlight it for you guys so you know. And the pineapple in this seems quite mature. So pineapple kind of starts getting sweeter and slightly like fermented. And that's the stage I can't stand the pineapple. This seems like that here. It's sweetened up. But there's oud here. Oud's got a bit of funk. It's not my favorite. What do you guys think about it? We've had two almost back-to-back oud and fruits combo fragrances. Oud Maracuja by Maison Crivelli. And then we've got Oud Saparat from the House of Montal. Which one's your favorite? All right, on to the next page of the fruity, tropical fruity fragrances. Going to the house of Neela Vermeer Creations, we've got Bombay Bling. Yeah, I love this one. This is fruits and flowers, so it could have been put into either category, but I felt like the fruits are a bit stronger. Also, I could have put this in the luxury tropical resorts category, but I decided to keep it in the fruits because this transports me on a vacation and like a luxury hotel, just something like that, sipping on tropical fruity cocktails and things like that. But it's another Bertrand Duchaufour creation. I much prefer this over White Blood, honestly. It's an amazing scent. I first discovered it 10 years ago, 2015, January, 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago, at Javois in Paris. I hadn't discovered the brand yet. Later, I think the brand sold at Tiger Lily Perfumery, and then I don't know what happened after that. But it's such a great scent. One of the best from her. Awesome stuff. Bombay Bling. Neela Vermeer Creations, Bombay Bling. And then we've got Père Noir's Anello. Who's a fan of this? Super fruits. I would say this is super fruits. Very juicy fruits. Tart and sweet fruits. Tropical touches. It's fun and playful. Very, very concentrated. Very nice smelling. It smells really, really great, by the way. This is also extract. It's highly concentrated from the House of Père Noir. Definitely one of my favorites from the brand, by the way. Let me know if you guys are a fan of Anello. It smells great. There is something earthy in the base as well, almost like something patchouli-esque, which I quite like in this. Yum. Really, really yum. I'm going to spray it on this side because I sprayed the Ramon Monegal on this side. Yeah, that fishy smell from the Ramon Monegal is here. Slightly marine. But the Anello is quite nice. I like that it has tart fruits. I love tart fruits. I love eating tart things personally. So I love the tart fruitiness in this. When I buy cherries, I want to make sure that there's tartness with the cherries. When I buy nectarines or peaches, kind of like them to be on the tart side, not super sweet. All right, next, go into the house of Rirana Parfum. It is Coconut Nanas. You guys familiar with this? It's pretty much coconut and pineapple mixed together like a pina colada effect. But really, really lovely scent. The coconut's creaminess is super nice, not overwhelming. And then the tartness and the sweetness and the fruitiness of the pineapple is perfect. And the smell is like authentic pina colada. Really smells like a cocktail. And there's some light boozy touches in there as well. Does anybody even drink pina coladas anymore? The bars I go to, they don't have the blenders. Maybe there is a version that you can do without, blending. But I love the idea of a pina colada. I would actually make it more pineapple leaning than the coconut. But the combo sounds really, it smells really great here. And it sounds like it's been a long time since I've had it. And I think when I was very young, I was remembering having the virgin versions. This is good. Really lovely scent. If you guys don't know Coconut Nanas, please check it out. It's a good one if you like the idea of a pina colada. Up next, going to the house of Room 1015. This is Wave Child. Wave Child is tropical, also a little beachy. And it's a watermelon focused fragrance, so it's super fruity. But the texture is kind of creamy. There's definitely a candied effect happening here as well. But a very fun fragrance, super fun. It's lovely. We actually had that in our Scent Club kit a few years ago. Actually, when it first came out. I still think it's a fun fragrance. Do you guys get candy from Wave Child? Let me know. Add a comment below. Next, we're going to the house of Siam 1928. This is Nari Vimala. Who's familiar with this house? By the way, going through this list of fruity fragrances, a lot of brands were at our show, by the way. We had Boho Boko, Juice Box, Kayali, Lumari, Lorenzo Pizzaglia, Maya NG. We had Pear Noir with ZGO Perfumery. And then I think there's one or two more coming up. This is giving me very powdery, savory gourmand touches with a fruity tropical twist added to it. So I wouldn't say this is the most tropical, because there's definitely a salty, savory gourmand touch here, all while giving me that kind of tropical fruity effect mixed together. If you like fragrances like Taipei from One Day with a tropical fruity twist, this is one for you to try. It's a cute bottle as well. Lovely bottle. And then the House of Ouds Keep Glazed. This was also a brand at our show. The House of Oud came with a big distributor, Quintessence, who brought this brand plus 7 other brands. This is a fun coconut fragrance. Not coconut, I'm sorry. It's a mango offering. With an interesting name, Keep Glazed. It's super fruity, very tropical, and a creamy effect as well. Lovely smell. Very, very lovely. It's also got this super cozy effect happening as well. It smells great, guys. If you guys haven't tried Keep Glazed, please do. It smells wonderful. Yum. All right, next we're going to the house of... Where are we going? Tiziana Terenzi with Velorum. You guys familiar with Velorum? So this is a tropical fruity offering with a super creamy base. Very smooth. And it creates this like very... almost like white chocolatey creamy effect mixed in with the tropical fruitiness. Very cozy, super, super cozy with that whole creamy effect. Tiziana Terenzi does do fruity quite a bit, I have to say. Anyway, that's Velorum from the house of Tiziana Terenzi. Then we've got Yulica's Nota Loca. Very pineapple-y, super duper pineapple. It's almost like the pineapple just burst into your face. It's also kind of on the creamy side. There's a smoothness about it, and that's giving me like a creamy effect. But it's a kind of on the sour side of pineapple, the tart side. Yum. Nota Loca. All right, up next, we're going to the house of Quinto Canto or Vicanto. It's Strychnina. Strychnina. This is also a sister house of Tiziana Terenzi, by the way. This is like a red fruits explosion. Red fruits and tropical fruits. There's a tartness, a sweetness, and major freshness. It doesn't act as concentrated as Velorum, but it has that effect. The tart, sweet tart effect. I think this is a very popular one for the house of Quinto Canto. What are your thoughts? Let me know, add a comment below. All right, I had to pause the video there. I forgot one fragrance. This is Wilhelm Parfumery's Mango Skin. Very popular offering from the house. This to me is a green mango. And the mango skin, that's the green mango, obviously. It's giving me a much less ripened mango effect. It's very fresh on the green side of fruity. A bit cocktail-like, I think, also. And very realistic smelling. Whereas some things smell a bit synthetic, this one has a very realistic. Because of the skin, I'm getting more of a realistic effect with this one. And a beautiful bottle created by Pierre Denon. Love this bottle. So that's Mango Skin from Wilhelm Parfumery. All right, next we're going to Voyager with Golden Hour. You guys familiar with this brand? These are cute little 30 ml bottles. Golden Hour has more of a gourmand fruity effect. There's definitely something toasty, bready, perhaps ricey in here. There's a light salty effect, but with an underlying fruitiness. Once again, similar to Nari Vimala, sister brands, by the way, giving me a similar effect. But this one is less like rice that I got with the Nari Vimala, but more bready, maybe a bit nutty. So that's Golden Hour from the House of Voyager. Voyager spelled that way. And then this one, between the two from Voyager, is my favorite. This is yellow with 2 exclamation marks. And this is all about yellow fruits. It's got loads of pineapple and other yellow fruits in there. Very fun. Very tropical, super duper tropical. Yeah, it smells like yellow fruits. It's like maybe a little bit of cantaloupes in there. You get that melony effect for sure. I think there's also a little bit of passion fruit. Maybe there's some fruits like that. But it's just like a fruit explosion. Yellow. The color tells you all. That's the seal. Anyway, that is from the House of Voyager. And then last but not least, we've got Xerjoff's Cruz del Sur 2. This is more gourmand leaning, but that mango is pretty prominent in this. There's something very creamy in this. Almost like chocolate. Do you guys get the chocolate effect? It's very, very like milky, almost creamy, milky, lactonic, but giving you a little bit of chocolate touch. But it's almost like you've drizzled melted milky chocolate all over a mango fruit or something. It's quite yummy. This is super duper yummy. Anyway, that's the list of tropical fruity fragrances for you. This is Cruz del Sur 2 by the House of Xerjoff, and that's the last fragrance in this category. Let me know which are your favorites in this category. What's missing? I didn't mention early on that I don't have every single fragrance, so I can't have everything in the video. Plus, we're limited to 100. So there's 100 chapters available only on YouTube videos. Anything above 100 chapters do not show up unless you go into the info box. So I have to keep the count to 100. And that 100 also has to include the intro chapter. So really, I can only add 99 fragrances, although I've added more and I combine some of the fragrances so the chapters appear. So sometimes if you don't see chapters, I mean, you'll see it in the info box because those work, but sometimes live, they don't work because I have more than 100 chapters. But anyway, this is the tropical fruity fragrances. Let's move on to tropical floral fragrances next. All right, guys, now we're talking about the tropical floral side of tropical fragrances. This is a really big category, but I didn't have as many fragrances here in this category as I did in the fruity category. I think fruity fragrances are very, very popular. That's why we have a bunch there. But this is the second biggest category here in my tropical fragrances deep dive video. So we've got several fragrances I'm going to go over. And then after tropical floral, we have green tropical jungle. And then we have luxury tropical resorts, and we'll be done with the list. So let's get started with the first one. This is Bon Parfumeurs 103. So this has TR flower. There's hibiscus and jasmine in the notes as well. Do you guys consider hibiscus a tropical floral note? I know TR flower is for sure. And TR flower has that kind of creamy, sunscreeny, suntan lotiony kind of smell that is very, very prominently used in a lot of tropical fragrances. And here you have that experience. You have... it's very floral, but for me, like if you're talking about floral fragrances, TR flower smells like a flower. Jasmine, of course, smells like a flower. There's a lot of jasmine here. Hibiscus is on a different for me. It doesn't smell like your typical flower. But overall, though, it's very floral, very creamy, very smooth, very easy, cozy, breezy, tropical floral fragrance. At least to me, the hibiscus adds a bit more of a fresher depth when the other two flowers, the jasmine and the TR flower, are creamy. The hibiscus doesn't get creamy to me. At least to my nose, it doesn't. But either way, that's Bon Parfumeurs at number 103. I shouldn't say number, it's just 103. But moving on to the House of Diptyque, this is Eau Moheli. Eau Moheli from the House of Diptyque. It's one of my late discoveries from the house, late pickups. There's a Diptyque store that opened in Corte Madera during the pandemic. And I went there and I bought it there. It was warm. It was, excuse me, it was a warm summer day. Or actually, it could have been like September, which in Northern California, you get the Indian summer effect. And this smelled great, and so I had to have it. But it's very ylang focused. And you can see on the back, the flower is like totally standing out. And it's a very tropical take on that flower. To me, sometimes there's a greenness about it. And this is when I say it kind of reminds me a little bit of green bananas. If you've ever smelled them in a store, like a vegetable store or fruit store or whatever, or just a market where they have green bananas, you can kind of get a similar smell here. But this is super awesome. The creaminess of the flower, the ylang is really in your face. And there's a hot, humid quality about it that I really love in this fragrance. While being fresh, also the depth of that flower or the floral notes that are in here comes off a bit hot and humid. But that's Eau Moheli. I love that. It smells so awesome. And then we're going to the House of Fragrance du Bois. It's Eau Jaune Intense. This is a early bottle. And the juice has gotten quite dark, as you can see. Eau Jaune Intense is TR flower. I believe there's some Frangipani in here. Light on the oud. Very tropical, very intense, deep. I think it's interesting how they put the word oud first. And it's not really very heavy on the ouds. It's a super tropical, very floral offering. This might even have a little bit of ylang as well, because I'm picking up a similar smell that's in Eau Moheli. These tropical flowers give me like a humid depth, hot humid, because they bloom in the heat. And I mean, I've traveled quite a bit in humid parts of the world. Lush vegetation, florals, flowers blooming. The heat kind of just makes them come alive. And then they release their fragrances, and you kind of have that captured here in these fragrances. Really awesome scent here. This is Eau Jaune Intense from Fragrance du Bois. Not heavy on the oud, by the way, just to give you a heads up. Up next, going to the House of Gucci. It's A Chant for the Nymph. This is a very tropical floral that's sweetened up with honey. There's certainly a honeyed effect happening in this fragrance. It's got like a very baby powdery, because it's quite powdery as well. Once again, that it's either the sweetness of the honey or something in here is creating a hot, humid effect, like warmth. And even though for me flowers are fresh, there's not a lot of warmth to them. It's just these fragrances are coming off like that. This one has baby powder, tropical flowers, and sweet honey combined together. At least that's what I'm picking up. So that is a Chant for the Nymph from the House of Gucci. Up next, from a house that's probably not so known, this is In Astra Antares. Who's familiar with this house? The fragrances are all created by Sofia Bardelli. And the brand is actually founded by the sister of Sofia Bardelli. She's done fragrances for various few brands. Like one of the brands I can say is, at least I know, is Electimus London. This is not as warm and humid like the previous fragrances. There's a freshness, but very creamy, very white floral, very tropical floral, but a breezy freshness as well. Lightly tart, but super creamy. So to me, creamy has a warmth to it, but this isn't screaming like the humid flowers that I was talking about previously. We started out with not so humid with the 103 from Bon Parfumeur, but the Diptyque, the Fragrance du Bois, and the Gucci had that kind of humid warmth to it. And then back to the Antares here from In Astra, not so warm like humid, more fresh. Anyway, that is Antares from the House of In Astra. And then we've got another fragrance from the House of Kayali. It's Marrakesh in a Bottle, Orange Blossom 24. Even though this is Orange Blossom, it's definitely coming off very tropical because there's some tropical floral notes mixed in together. There's also a kind of a peppery touch here. It's a bit green. Orange Blossom does come off green, but for sure, very creamy. That's really nice. Not as tropical as the previous fragrances, but still, there's some tropical depth here. So that is Kayali's Marrakesh in a Bottle, Orange Blossom 24. Up next, one of my all-time favorite Ylang Ylang fragrances. This is Ylang d'Or from Maison du Roc. Oh, lovely. This one gives me sunscreeny vibes. Ylang Ylang can do that, but it's super creamy, lightly green, very tropical. It's actually to me, excuse me, it's actually to me a combo of the fresher side and the more humid side. It doesn't have a lot of that humid depth, but it does have some, and it has a bit of freshness surrounding it as well. Really lovely. I love it. But it also has a little bit of that banana-ish experience. More like green banana. Super lovely. That is Ylang d'Or from the House of Maison du Roc. Let me know if you guys are familiar with that. We actually featured that in a mystery box some time ago. Next, we've got two fragrances back-to-back from Nateeva. This first one is Saint Martin. This one actually is hibiscus. I think as I was saying earlier, the fact that the 103 had hibiscus in it, plus it had the TR flower and also the jasmine, I don't find hibiscus having that creamy layer that I find in more white floral notes. But because of that, it adds a fresher layer to it, because I find the creamy notes to be a bit warmer. But this is kind of fresh, breezy, and a bit more, the hibiscus is coming off a bit fruity. And if you guys have ever had hibiscus tea, there is a fruity side to that. It's a bit fruity to me. It's not necessarily like white flowers. That's what I'm trying to explain. So this has that in it a little bit. Hibiscus can also be a little tart, and that also has that in here as well. But it's very fresh, very unique tropical floral note, although I don't think it's very tropical, but I think it grows better in tropical environments. And apparently the native flower, I think from St. Martin, is hibiscus. I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure on the theme of the Nateeva fragrances, but I thought that's what I read. Up next, another Nateeva fragrance. This is St. Thomas. In St. Thomas, we've got Frangipani, or Plumeria. Now this one is a super creamy fragrance. Creamy flower, which to me, it can go sunscreeny. This one does a little bit. It's super creamy and cozy, very tropical. It has a light coconutty edge to it. This could have been in our beach collection of fragrances. Wanted to feature it here because this brand highlights the flowers. And we also featured the Jamaica in the beach, so I wanted to make sure this is here. It also seems like it has a little bit of ylang-ylang in here. I'm picking up slight ylang-ylang touches. But this is really wonderful. It's very, very cozy. St. Thomas from Nateeva. Let me know your thoughts. Add a comment below if you're familiar with that house. Up next, we're going to the house of Nomer. And this is Even Bloom. You guys familiar with this house? Let me know. The little cap kind of came off. So this to me is a savory gourmand and tropical floral notes together. There's a super salty, ricey kind of a side to it. But underneath that, it's getting really blossoming with flowers and more on the tropical floral side for sure. There's some light greenness there, light. But since it has tropical flowers, there's a creamy layer that's blooming and blossoming under there. It's actually quite nice. The kind of savory gourmand side, like rice or powdery kind of, not dough as much, more rice type notes up top are kind of like evaporating and blending with the floral side, the tropical floral side here. Lovely scent. It is getting a little bit soapy. I think the floral notes are kind of going in that direction, but that's Even Bloom from the house of Nomer. Then we're going to the house of Ormond Jane. This is Frangipani. Who's familiar with this one? So this is a very fresh take on Frangipani. Frangipani can be very creamy and, floral, very tropical. This is taking it to the more fresh direction and definitely doesn't have that hot humidity that I've been mentioning. This is definitely on the breezy, cool, crisp side. But beneath it all that freshness and the breeziness, there is a light, creamy, tropical edge. So I think this is created in the style of other Ormond Jane fragrances, and it fits the brand perfectly for something called Frangipani, where most of the time I think of Frangipani to be this hot, humid, white floral, tropical floral note. Here, it's not going in that direction, but it's a bit more minimalist, I should say, and it doesn't have that hot depth. And again, the breezy theme or idea is very prevalent here. So that is Frangipani from the House of Ormond Jane. Let me know your thoughts on that fragrance. Moving on to the House of Parfums de Marly. This is Kayali. This is floral, but also fruity, and definitely not Delina, because Delina is the most popular fragrance from Marly. But this is creamy and shampoo-like, by the way. The combo of flowers and fruits together gives me that kind of a shampoo effect. And for me, it reminds me of shampoo because, you know, shampoos are kind of scented. And I'm more also talking about the shampoos that I buy when I travel in Europe. Most importantly, at the Monoprix, I'm kind of going through all the shampoos they have there. They're really cool and different than the ones we have here in the States. And I think they use different kind of perfumes to scent their shampoos. And the texture is creamy. This is creamy. Plus the unique scents that they use in there gives me that kind of a vibe. So this is very, very shampoo-like to me. So that's Delina. No, I'm sorry, that's not Delina. That's Kayali from the House of Parfums de Marly. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Again, it's not one of the more popular ones from the house, but I think I had to highlight it here as a tropical floral offering. Then we're going to the House of Parfums Dusita. This is La Douceur de Siam. This is very floral, super duper floral with light green touches in there. But this has the freshness of flowers and also the hot humidity side as well. It's like it's a combination of both. Because when you smell them, I think what I'm trying to explain when I say hot humid, they're like the flowers bake and ripen. I think that's their fragrance gets much more intense and sweetens up as well. And here you have that experience. But there's also a fresh and breezy side to this. But there's green flowers, tropical flowers, you know, rose and things like that in here. It's just a big bouquet of flowers thrown in your face. It's super gorgeous. La Douceur de Siam from the House of Dusita, Parfums Dusita. Now, this next fragrance, I've mentioned many times, this gives me shampoo vibes. It's a fun fragrance. This is from the House of Perroy. It's Mahogany Sun, my favorite from the house. I think the texture is super creamy. That's why I get that. But this is also a Frangipani bomb with fig fruit. But it's a thick, like a texture of the Frangipani and the fig fruit. So it's super tropical, but very creamy. Very, very creamy. It's a fun fragrance. I actually toured the factory that the brand produces their fragrances, and they were producing that fragrance. I smelled it in their lab, and I instantly loved that one. And it's become my favorite from the line. And I like it. The fruitiness of the fig is slightly green, very, very lightly green, but it's mostly the fruit. But it's the combo of the Frangipani, which is a very creamy floral note, and the fruit of the fig that gives me this kind of sweet, fruity, floral, tropical kind of an edge. All while reminding me of a very thick shampoo with a very unique smell. So that's Perroy's Mahogany Sun. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And then up next, we're going to actually, this is the last fragrance in this category. This is the fragrance from the House of Phenom called Fleur de Socotra. Are you guys familiar with this? Now this one, to me, the reason I put it in here, it's not the most tropical, but the way the floral notes are wearing are very hot and humid, baked under the sun. Super gorgeous though, really, really gorgeous. It's like tropical flowers and white flowers, slightly sweetened up, acting a bit like Love Don't Be Shy, because there are some sweeter vanillic notes in the base. But to me, it is super delicious. Very creamy, super creamy layer. And of course, there's actually a light chocolatey effect happening in there. It might even be white chocolate. It's creamy. And I think this is what's giving us that reminder of Love Don't Be Shy, but not necessarily with orange blossom, although there might be orange blossom here. I'm thinking of like other floral notes and some tropicality in there as well. Amazing fragrance, awesome scent. Super delicious. So this is Phenoms Fleur de Socotra. You guys familiar with this house? They have another fragrance that's delicious called Crème de Santal. Awesome scent, by the way. Really, really awesome. And that's the last fragrance in the tropical floral category. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Are you a fan of any of these? And which would you remove and which would you add here? I know I don't have every single fragrance in the world, so most likely there's something that's missing in the list. If you have a favorite that you would categorize as a tropical floral fragrance, let me know what it is. Do add a comment below. All right, now we're on to Green Tropical Jungle. And this is a very small category. There's only 5 fragrances here. And we'll end this category and then move on to Luxury Tropical Resorts category. But we're gonna go with the 5 Green Tropical Jungle fragrances. And let me know what do you guys think of this category. I was thinking more like a tropical jungle that's super green and lush. And the fragrances definitely have to be green, or tropical fragrances that lean green. And that's what I was trying to do. So it turned out that I didn't have a lot of fragrances in this category, and I was hunting high and low to find more. I couldn't find more to add to this category. So we're going to go with 5. And we're starting off the first fragrance with Granado Brazil's latest Yes Nos Temos Bananas. So it is fruity, but to me this is green fruity. And I think that's why we put it, I put it here because I just thought it fit this category better. Because it is fruity, it's tropical, it's hot and humid, but also the fragrance has a green side. So it acts green. So we were kind of like envisioning something green and tropical in a jungle or something. So in the end, to me, this is a ripe, not unripe, I should say unripe banana. So more of a green banana. And I'm also getting the banana skin in combination with the flesh, like the actual fruit part as well. But if you're looking for more of a gourmand, this is not that. I think this is fitting of the brand Granado. And I think they've done a great job with the creation. And this little dangly thing is kind of cute also. But that is the latest fragrance from the house of Granado, Brazil. Yes Nos Temos Banana. That's what it's called. So it's a bit complicated, but I think that's in Portuguese most likely because the brand is from Brazil and they speak Portuguese there. But great scent for you to try. Not full-on gourmand. This category is not going to be gourmand for sure. And so these are tropical fragrances that lean green. This is the green tropical jungle category. We've got Healy's Coco Bello next. A green take on coconuts. So let me know your thoughts on this house and this particular fragrance. And what do you guys think of the idea of a creamy coconut note that goes green? I think we have the palm leaves note in this. So it's different. It's creamy, it's coconutty, slightly milky as well, but a lot of greenness contrast in here. So it creates a more like a lush vegetation, styling to the fragrance that, gives me the picture of going into a jungle. All while you're near a beach, the sea, and the coconut trees and everything. There's definitely a spicy edge to it. Doesn't come off super fruity. but just more like a tropical jungle on the green side. What are your thoughts on Coco Bello from the House of Healy? Let me know your thoughts. Add a comment below. So up next, we're going to the House of Loewe. This is Paula Zabiza. The original, not the I think there's 3 flankers of this. I mean, it's 3 total different versions of this. I only featured the original. I have the second one. I don't think I have the third one. This to me is tropical, but it's kind of green and also marine also a little bit. But if you smell it, you smell green vegetation. It's a bit peppery and woody, spicy, lightly coconutty, although not lightly. I think it's super coconutty. And then there's a bit of like salty sea kind of a breeze in there as well. Very different for a beachy fragrance. But I think it's quite lovely. It's different and it's unique for a beachy fragrance, I think. Paula Zabiza. This is from the House of Loewe. Let me know if you're a fan. I think when I first saw that bottle, I was like, okay, I was very intrigued. I had only owned one Loewe fragrance at up to that point, 001. Actually, I owned 001 men and 001 women, and I bought it, and I really fell in love with it. It was just awesome. I think I'd never experienced a beachy fragrance like that. And I think they did a great job with that fragrance for sure. So that is Loewe Paula Zabiza. Up next, going to the House of Siam, 1928. It's Karawik. This also, to me, is a very unique green, fruity, tropical fragrance. This also gives me that kind of a creamy shampoo texture. In fact, it smells like some either body wash products or shampoo products that I've actually used in France. But to me, it's a lot of green mango here, super duper. And it smells of green vegetation, but it's also lush and humid and hot and wet all at the same time. I think this is one of my favorite fragrances from this house. Siam 1928. It's really, really amazing, I think. So it's got that fruitiness, but it's not super ripe. It's green. It's slightly bitter, but a lot of green vegetation effect happening in here. All at the same time being creamy underneath it all. Karawik, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. It's an awesome scent. Please check it out. Definitely my favorite from that house. It's really, really awesome. You gotta love green fragrances to enjoy this particular category, I think, but that is really super awesome. And then last but not least, in green tropical jungle category, we've got Dodo Jackfruit Edition from the House of Zoologist Perfumes. This is a fougere, first of all, and we also had the Code of Emotion, which is also a fougere, but I felt like that belonged in the fruity category a bit more. This, to me, went a lot more green. It's very, very green. It's the jackfruit. It's also very tropical fruity. And so I felt like I'd rather put it into a green tropical jungle category where you're going through it and, chopping down fruits, perhaps mangoes or something, or in this case, jackfruit. But all along the greenness and also the fruitiness, you have the fougere effect. It's a very barbershop-y fougere. Definitely has become one of my favorite fragrances from the house. I absolutely love this fragrance. I actually love barbershop-y fougere fragrances. I grew up with them. My dad wore them quite a bit, although the more classic style, the 70s and 80s classic, maybe even the 60s classic style. This is very modern to me, but it does pay tribute to those, classic barbershop-y fragrances. It's very green. It's also very aromatic, quite spicy. Then you also have the fruitiness. Really, again, really wonderful offering from this house. It was actually in our one of our Scent Club kits from last year. This is Zoologist Perfumes Dodo Jackfruit Edition. Now, I know the original version is not one of my favorite fragrances. It's quite sweaty smelling. I don't care for it. But they turned it around and made such an awesome update to the fragrance. And very wearable. I mean, tropical, fruity, super green, lush vegetation, aromatic herbs. Just really great. I'm not too familiar with the perfumer, though, Yves Kazar. I think he's with IFF, but again, wonderful fragrance. But that's all I have here in this category, green, tropical, jungle category of tropical fragrances. If you know of any other fragrances that would fit this category, let us know. Let me know. Add a comment so I can find out and maybe perhaps look for them in the future for maybe an update in this category. But yeah, let's move on to luxury tropical resorts next. All right, luxury tropical resorts. Yes, we do have a category here called that. And this is more like a vacation in a bottle kind of a category. Just imagine it's like a destination, but tropical. It could go fruity, it could go beachy, it could go floral, but I felt like these fragrances kind of belonged in this category. That's why I created this particular category. So let me know if you guys get that kind of an effect with these fragrances, but I definitely do. And we're gonna go ahead and start off with the first one. This is another one I bought specifically for this video. I went straight to Sephora and bought 3-4 fragrances from there. This is Ellis Brooklyn's Isla Sirena. I was going through 3 fragrances from the house. This one stood out the most. One in a blue bottle, I think one in a yellow bottle as well. What I liked about this one is just totally breezy. Really more like luxurious breezy. I'm envisioning an expensive resort, kind of like first, what's the name of the show? I'm drawing a blank with the show on HBO. Anyway, the first season in Hawaii. I'm envisioning that. So super sexy, very tropical, floral and lightly fruity, but very breezy, kind of a cocktail-like effect here. So that is Ellis Brooklyn's Isla Sirena. Let me know if you guys are familiar with the house. What other fragrances do you recommend from that house? And this one to me totally does it. Love this fragrance from this house. It's definitely my second favorite, but it might even be my first favorite, more than the other one that's a very popular one. This is Bora Bora by Giardini di Toscana. First of all, it's very creamy. Super duper creamy. There's a milky lactonic side to it, but in the end, it's all tropical floral. But very luxurious. It's a resort right along the jungle, kind of. There's a hot, humid depth about this one. And again, it's just super luxurious for me. There is a little bit of a slight spicy edge. It's almost like there's a lily note in there. Lilies kind of give me a little bit of a spicy edge, like a warm, spicy edge, like cinnamon or cloves. I get that a little bit here. But really wonderful offering. I love this one. So this is Bora Bora from the house of Giardini di Toscana. Let me know if you're a fan of that. And this one already, I mean, to me, this is the ultimate in luxury tropical resorts experience. This is Sunset Hour from the house of Goldfield and Banks. So this is fruity, tropical fruity. And to me, it's like super breezy, cool inside in the, you know, like a tropical resort bar. And you can tell how hot and humid it is in there, but you know, they've got air conditioning on, and they also have like a window open with breeze and drapes flying with the wind. And then you're drinking some kind of a bubbly cocktail, fizzy cocktail with a lot of fruit notes in there. Tropical, juicy, sweet tart, sparkly. And yeah, it's just exactly what I get from this fragrance, Sunset Hour. And the fruit in here is Kwandong. So that is Goldfield and Banks Sunset Hour. Up next, we've got Gritti Siracusa. So Gritti Siracusa, I believe, is inspired by southern Italy. Is it? I'm not sure which city it is, but this is bordering tropical, not super duper tropical to me. It's also very citrusy and fresh, a little spicy with light floral touches, but gives me a very luxurious effect. Clean, dressed up, classy, elegant, all come to mind with this one. But yeah, it's not the most tropical. I think I would say tropical adjacent, or like a little tropical, but a lot of your traditional kind of fragrance notes in here. So it's Siracusa from the house of Gritti. Next, going back to the house of Kajal, this is Colada. Yeah, Colada, Pina Colada at the resort you're in, sitting on a chair, laying on a chair, I should say, sipping on the cocktails, watching the waves. Super fruity, juicy, sweet tart, creamy, sexy, fun and playful. Yeah, Kajal does fruity really nicely. They do quite a bit of fruity. I think that they did a good job on this one. It's Colada from the house of Kajal. I actually really love this bottle from them. All right, next we're going to the house of Le Prince du Golfe, and this is Coco du Yemen. This is kind of a simplistic but very creamy, luxurious, creamy, coconutty fragrance. Super smooth, more like a skin scent rather than a very strong, beastly offering, but very elegant and classy. This is kind of like you're at the luxury hotel and you're applying a very expensive sunscreen on, and you're laying near the swimming pool, but the swimming pool is right on the water. You can dip into the pool or dip into the sea. It's hot, it's sunny, and the essence of the fragrance is not super strong. I mean, not the fragrance, but the sunscreen or suntan lotion is not super strong, but there is a smell there, and it's very luxurious. Are you guys familiar with this house? This is Coco du Yemen from the house of Le Princes du Golfe. All right, we're going to the house of M. Micallef next. This is Ylang in Gold. Yeah, I've been a fan of this one for quite a while. I do have the version of this fragrance that has that kind of like floaty kind of creamy juice in there. And one of my early Ylang fragrances, this is taking it to a very luxurious gourmand direction, but it's super tropical, lightly banana-like, but more ripened banana rather than green banana here. but it's creamy, it's sunscreeny, gourmand, very warm, tropical, fun, luxurious. It smells great. Really wonderful. Definitely one of the best from this house for sure. I think it's got a following. That is Ylang Gold from the house of M. Micallef. We're going to the house of Maison de la Sea. This is Bali High. Again, this one takes me to Bali, and it's very luxurious. Also, it's kind of deep fragrance because colored the strip there. But it's very floral. This one is definitely high on the floral side. It's super potent. There's some warmth. Well, it's quite warm actually. It's super creamy. Very lush. Gorgeous fragrance though. This is like a bouquet of tropical flowers. There's also a coconutty angle to this, or side. So it intensifies the creaminess. Very luxurious. Who's familiar with the brand? Maison de la Sea. This is Bali High. Bali High. And speaking of Bali, we're going to the house of Nectar Olfactive. This is Étoile de Bali. It's a great tropical destination. I've never been there. Anybody been there? Do you recommend it? I've had friends recommend it to me. This is a warm, honeyed, sunny glow on tropical flowers. Well, this is basically very luxurious, super refined, like tropical flowers drizzled with warm honey, and instantly becomes sunscreen or suntan lotion, and you wipe it all over you and you lay out under the sun. It really kind of puts you in the place of a honeyed sunscreen or suntan lotion, because the flowers in here are super creamy, and the honey effect, because this brand is a honey focused brand, so a lot of their fragrances smell like honey. So that's what's going on here. It's super intense with the honey. It's very delicious. It smells expensive. I find honey to be expensive. Sometimes it's also a bit animalic, but that smells like expensive, sunscreen product, I should say. All right, next we're going to the house of Nest. This is Balinese Coconut. Yep, look at that. Looks like the wallpaper of a luxurious hotel, kind of. It's almost like we've got Bali back to back. 3 fragrances all about Bali. But this is super creamy coconut. This is almost like a coconut cocktail, coconut drink in the coconut shell, but it's sweet and almost custardy creamy. Something very special that you've ordered at this special resort in Bali. Slightly gourmand leaning, so it's a bit sweet, but super delicious. This is one of the fragrances I bought. I don't own anything from Nest, but I fell in love with the way this smells. So, and then again, the actual background here looks or reminds me of wallpapering in like fancy hotels. More minimalistic, but kind of gives me the idea. Next, we're going to the house of NOMR again, Nomer. This is Whole Day. To me, it almost looks like holiday, but there's no I there. So whole day. This is a tropical, fresh, breezy cocktail where they're using traditional ingredients with tropical ingredients. So it's fresh and breezy, sweet and tart, a bit aromatic, a lightly spicy, very tropical. Well, not as tropical as some of the other fragrances, but for sure there's a kind of a coconutty creaminess in here. Also a light tea effect as well. And some light floral notes. It's quite good. I actually like this one a little more than Even Bloom. Although Even Bloom developed into more of a floral thing, this one to me, it's all great from start to finish. Whole day. That's from the House of Nomer. And then we've got a fragrance from the House of the Scent Library. This is called Abu Dhabi. And I have been to Abu Dhabi. This is, I never smelled flowers like this. But man, this is like a tropical, lush resort with floral flowers like so ripened on the branches or the leaves, but their smell is so amplified because they've been baking under the sun. It's hot and humid, super hot, and you're near these plants and vegetation, and you're really hot yourself. You're baking under the sun, and you're gonna jump into this amazing pool. You're not going to the sea. You want to just stick around near the hotel, and you're jumping into the pool. But this is like white flowers, tropical flowers, warm, like I said, ripened flowers, like really ripened under the heat. It has a very humid effect. Sweet, creamy, tropical flowers. I think there's ylang ylang in here as well. So that's Abu Dhabi from the Scent Library. Up next, we've got a fragrance from the House of Venezia 1920. This is Bellini. And Bellini's always put me into a, resort, hotel setting, bar setting. So this gave me a luxury tropical resort setting. It's also very fruity and fizzy. And it's got that kind of a tropical fruity vibe. It's very fruity, but to me, it's the idea more than, because I could have put this in the fruity collection of fragrances. We had so much in there, so I left it off here just for the fact that Bellinis are cocktails, and this is kind of giving me that kind of an effect. The idea of sipping on a fresh and fizzy, fruity, tropical Bellini. So that is Bellini from the House of Venezia 1920. That's it right there. Last but not least, we're going back to the Venezia 1920. This is Blanc de Blanc. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. This is very floral. Like, this is even, the previous one was fruits. This is all tropical florals. Very creamy with ylang ylang, some other tropical floral notes. But the creamy, hot, humid effect is very, very prominent here. And it's the flowers at the resort that you're staying in, they just are smelling very, very fragrant. That's the effect I'm getting with this one. But super luxurious. There's a little bit of a ylang ylang effect happening in here, giving me that banana effect. But very luxurious and very much a reminder of tropical resorts for me. That one's really nice. Blanc de Blanc. Most likely referring to the flowers. So that's the last fragrance, guys. That is luxury tropical resorts category. And this is my tropical fragrances deep dive video. So let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. It should be about 100 fragrances. And maybe there's one more, maybe one less. I had to take some out, put some in. So I lost count. So we'll do a count once the video is live. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. What would you want to look into if you haven't smelled it yet? What would you add if I haven't added it here? Again, I don't have everything, and I had what I had and wanted to get this video out since I haven't done a lot of deep dive videos for a long time. So this is the latest. I've got a few more cooking very soon. What I want to tell you also, these fragrances that I spoke about in these different categories in the future will go up as individual videos edited, which recently I've done with a few videos. So if you hate watching long form videos because they take too long, then you can look forward to watching these videos in their own groups edited, because I don't edit these videos. It would take forever and too expensive to edit these. It would take too long. These are long form videos, but the shorter segments from each of the segments that I spoke about will be fine edited. So yeah, you can look forward to those. But if you love long format videos, please go catch my deep dive videos, which are also set up as podcasts. So my YouTube manager has set me up with my deep dive videos as podcasts. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please interact with this video. Please like it, share it, add a comment. Not one, maybe 2 or 3 comments. I would appreciate that. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Click that bell icon, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.